Slave DiBiase.
All right, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on whenever you digest this content. This is another live episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast. Let me get this right there. There we go. All my stoneheads and my true offenders, thank y'all for pulling up to another classic sesh, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what it is, man. It's Monday. Well, you know what? Before I say anything, salute to JK Distro again for strain of the day, man. Strain of the day today is permanent certs. I have dropped a very, very nice, quick, to the point review on permanent certs, man. Definitely go and check that out here at We The People TV. But I say all that to say this. There's nothing for me to do on Sundays anymore. There's nothing for me to do on Sundays anymore. Literally, the league of fans that are all in tow to gather every Sunday to watch a villainous, flesh-eating, kid-murdering clown just do his thing, and we just all there for it on some Stephen King shit. I have nothing to do on Sunday now. Y'all read the caption, man. Y'all read the caption if y'all done pulled up. Welcome to Derry, episode 8, finale reaction. We're going to react to that, man. Like, hold on. First of all, did it live up to the hype? Yes, it did. Tell me y'all watched it. Not sure what APY means, but thank you for joining us. Ali May, thank you for joining us. Yeah, tell me that it did not live up to the hype, because it did. They did not write down at all this season. They wrote all the way up. Salute to Annie Muschietti and all the directing that he did within this entire series. I totally forgive him for what happened with The Flash, man. I totally forgive him for that. I'm not mad no more. I'm waiting for season 2. You know what I'm saying? We fiending for season 2, man. I'm telling y'all. Get your lighters, get your blunts. Let's go ahead and check out from Think Story. Y'all know we've been rocking with them since they've been rocking with them. And let's get this reaction underway, man. Comment, like, and subscribe and share, and tell me in the comments if you've been keeping up with it. Welcome to Derry season 1. What's your strain of the day? And what was your favorite part of the entire episode of the season finale? It's a shocker, y'all. All right, this is by way of Think Story. Let's get into it. Give those good folks a good like, comment, and subscribe. Light up.
Battle between good and evil, me requesting a DNA test, and the most terrifying school assembly since Subway Jared visited my school. Seriously, that happened. This massive deep dive is going to answer all your burning questions, from that epic final reveal, Marge's son Richie, and
thank you
how
for
our
pulling up.
very understanding of the universe will change with time travel?
Time travel.
Okay, maybe not that crazy, but we'll talk about it. There's also this photo that's been making people go insane on Twitter. I found this source, I know if it's real, and we'll talk about that too. If you've liked my breakdowns this season, leave a red balloon in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe.
I got you, my brother. I got you.
Fallout and Stranger Things, so unlike my ex-girlfriend, you'll want to stick around. The name of this episode, Winter Fire, was penned by Derry's favorite poet, Ben Hanscom, from It Chapter 1. Winter Fire being a nod to his crush of Beverly Marsh's hair.
Okay. Off top, there are a lot of callbacks to It Chapter 1 with It Welcome to Derry Season 1. Y'all will see what I'm talking about shortly.
cold fog freezing the Penobscot River and last week's black spot fire, the title's fusion of cold and fire takes on an even more chilling meaning, and the episode wastes no time getting right into the action. A mysterious fog envelops the town, and bonus points if you caught this baby.
Okay, off top, when that fog or mist came into town, that's what I thought it was. Anybody else seen the Stephen King movie, The Mist, with them giant bugs and the military had opened up that portal into another dimension that they shouldn't have been fucking with in the first place? Yeah. I thought this was The Mist off top. That was really, really fire to me.
Carriage being flung down the street. Last episode, we saw General Francis Shaw reveal his true intentions with the cosmic entity known as Galoo. It was originally thought that Shaw planned to contain Galoo to weaponize it against the Russians. This is the height of the Cold War, after all. But Shaw reveals to Leroy Hanlon an even more terrifying plan. He doesn't want to unleash it on Russia, he wants to set it loose on America itself.
Ain't that about a bitch? Look at him. It's always some motherfucker in the cut that want too much goddamn power and that be on bullshit, man. I'm telling you.
Believing the country has lost its way, and the only thing that can get people back in line is fear. And what better thing to get Americans back on the straight and narrow than a sadistic child-killing clown? Francis Shaw had first-hand experience with Galoo back in 1908, when he had a run-in with it in the form of the Skeleton Man. This is the same day Francis saw young Periwinkle in her clown outfit, which suggests this is the night before Galoo kills Bob Gray and takes on the Pennywise persona. The
Facts.
fog is also a metaphor for fear itself.
The fear.
Why would you want to use this thing as a weapon? It murders children and you know it. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you got to go into the minds of these kind of villains, man. Like, honestly, yeah, Pennywise was the overall big bad of this season and this series, period. But it's really the humans that enable him and that kind of slick help him out that are the real big bads. It was really General Shaw the entire time.
It settles on every living person it touches like a fog.
We know that Galoo feeds off fear, and Welcome to Derry does a great job on explaining how it's the single greatest contributor on whether or not Pennywise kills its victims. There have been many times, not just in Welcome to Derry, where Pennywise could have killed the kids, but didn't. Will Hanlon theorizes that it can smell the fear in our blood.
Yeah, that's one thing that I will say. He might have played over his food again with this particular group. I like this whole salting the meat, fattening the pig, making sure these kids have enough of that adrenaline in their system, whatever the fear version of adrenaline is. Cortisol, I think that's what it is. He wants the cortisol in your system. That's what it feeds off of. So the scared of the kid is, the tastier he is. Pause. I don't like it.
Fear caused by heightened levels of adrenaline and cortisol. In fact, we'll see Pennywise smell Francis Shaw and state,
I never forget a smell.
this is how he knows he's that kid from decades ago. His victims need to have just the right level of fear for it to be worth consuming. And if they haven't reached that threshold, he lets them go to let that fear build.
Now, y'all remember, right? Y'all remember how he was strictly hunting kids in It Chapter 1. You know what I'm saying? He was strictly hunting kids. And in It Chapter 2, for the most part, he was hunting kids. But yeah. Season 1, It Welcome to Derry. He was ABG. Pennywise was ABG with it. Anybody could get it. If he was hungry, it's over with.
Think of it like fishing. We love fishing on this show. If you catch something and it's too small, you let it go until it's bigger. It hasn't been long since the tragedy of the black spot, an event the indigenous refer to as an augury. These occur once every 27 years in line with...
And see, that's the thing. The Native American people, they some hoes too, because y'all know this thing come around once every 27 years and murder a bunch of kids and people and cause all sorts of chaos and turmoil within that town. And instead of finding this thing and killing it, y'all just want to keep it at bay. And then don't tell nobody about it. Bullshit.
Galoo's feeding cycle and mark his final bloody last hurrah before going into hibernation. In 1962, it was the Black Spot, 35, the Bradley Gang Massacre, and 08, the Kitchener Ironworks Fire, which, if you look closely, you can see Pennywise's wagon there in the intro credits. With this year's augury complete, Pennywise had already settled in for his 27 years sleep.
Hold on, y'all. By the way, the little creepy theme music, it was super creepy on this last episode. It was super creepy. Go and take a listen back.
Which, if you look closely, you can see Pennywise's wagon there in the intro credits. With this year's augury complete, Pennywise had already settled in for his 27 years sleep, but the destruction of the pillar awoke him from his slumber. This pillar is one of 13 fragments taken from the comet which imprisoned Galoo. This comet crash landed in Derry millennia ago, where the entity fed off the creatures of the land. However, animals weren't enough to strengthen Galoo, which would allow him.
Nah, hold up. We gotta go back right there. Just shout out to Andy Muschietti, man. I'm not mad at you no more, brother.
Animals weren't enough to strengthen.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him no more, man. Like, we'll just act like the Flash never happened. You know what I'm saying? We'll just act like the Flash never happened.
Galoo, which would allow him to expand beyond its borders. He needs that sweet, sweet human fear. When the indigenous arrived, they quickly learned how this thing operates. Rather than fight it, they would starve it with the one thing it so desires, fear, opting to stay out of its territory so it could never grow. This all
It's bullshit. Find this thing and kill it, man. That's what you do. It's gonna hunt your children's children. And if you know anything about the Stephen King universe, man, it's so supernatural. Like, she can just, nothing ever really dies. You can see certain characters that have been supposedly dead show up again.
changed, however, with the arrival of the settlers.
White people, right?
With a constant supply of fresh bodies, Galoo's power grew, so in an effort to contain it, they buried 13 of these pillars, essentially imprisoning the entity within the confines of Derry. General Shaw knows of this legend from Rose, who he befriended as a child. When he moved away from Derry, he forgot all about it, as the longer you spend outside Derry, the less you remember. It was only when he was given an experimental drug from the Department of Defense that these memories flooded back.
See. And that just makes me scared of all the shit that they used to make us, the little mandatory shots they used to make us take back when the Iraq war was out. I might be a whole mutant right now and don't even know.
Heightened further upon returning to town. His mission is to track these pillars and destroy them, allowing the entity to feed on the fear of America. In episode 7, he basically states this is a necessary evil to keep the nation together. Aiding in this effort is Dick Halloran. Yes, the same Dick Halloran from The Shining. He has
Nah, hold on. First of all, let's get back here.
destroy them, allowing the entity to feed on the fear of America.
Destroy the pillars that was keeping it within its bounds to feed on the fear of America, as if this thing, it wants to sign some sort of treaty with America. Just tell me where that makes sense. Like, y'all gonna get in the office and have them sign a little piece of paper, say, all right, man, you can eat these people, but not these people. Oh, okay. Yes, I'll do that. Nah, nigga, that ain't how that shit gonna go. He's named the Eater of Worlds. If he would have got, man, I ain't gonna spoil it. If he would have got any further, it would have got bad. That's all I know.
In episode 7, he basically
This country is fracturing. I'm only trying to prevent another civil war, while also having a civil war right there within that episode next to the base. Some soldiers got killed on his watch. Civil war this, huh?
states this is a necessary evil to keep the nation together. Aiding in this effort is Dick Halloran. Yes, the same Dick Halloran from The Shining. He has a slew of telekinetic powers, including psychometry from The Shining.
We're not just gonna act like my man name ain't Dick Halloran. That's like a porno name for real. But Dick Halloran is actually Son Halloran is actually one of the toughest people in this entire series, in my opinion.
The nation together. Aiding in this effort is Dick Halloran. Yes, the same Dick Halloran from The Shining. He has a slew of telekinetic powers, including psychometry, the ability to see events, memories, or information by touching objects. This is how he first connected with Galoo in episode 3 by touching the slingshot that attacked it.
See, and having powers like that will have you walking around with gloves on, never wanting to touch shit else. Cause man, you would know too much. I don't want no power like that.
He can also see the dead. His second encounter with Galoo saw him relive the trauma of his abusive grandfather. At the age of 9, Dick's grandmother, who also shared these abilities, taught him something called the lockbox technique, a way to compartmentalize and lock away all one's traumas, fears, and even dead spirits. It was Galoo who reopened this box, unleashing this trauma and making Dick see the dead. After the Black Spot Massacre, Dick uses this ability to see the dead to follow Seski, one of the local tribe's great leaders who was
Seski is related to Rose. She
buried alongside one of the pillars. That's how the military was able to acquire and destroy a pillar, essentially creating a way for Pennywise to escape its prison. At the end of episode 7, Pennywise senses that the barrier has fallen, and thus begins his deadly march to free himself from Derry for good. We'll see this fog destroy the leaves and freeze the river. Here's a creepy looking woman with one of Pennywise's red balloons floating in the reflection. The fog provides a perfect...
Hold on. And see, that's when I look, you gonna tell me this ain't the same mist from this ain't the same mist from The Mist.
We'll see this fog destroy the leaves and freeze the river. Here's a creepy looking woman with one of Pennywise's red balloons floating in the river.
Just looking crazy, man. Now tell me this wasn't creepy when y'all saw it, bruh. Look at this lady's face.
Reflection. The fog provides a perfect smokescreen for Pennywise's target, Derry High School. He commandeers the school's PA system to gather the younger students. Kids have always been the perfect victim for Pennywise. They're easier to manipulate. Plus, you always need a snack when going on a road trip. If you flip this out around, you can make out a list of names on the principal's desk. These are crew from the show with executive producer and director Andy Muschietti at the top. I love this quick shot of the Derry High School mascot, the Trappers. Not only are the kids and Pennywise trapped, but it harkens back to Derry's history as an early colonial settlement. One of the earliest recorded auguries in Derry occurred in 1741, when an entire settlement of 300 people simply vanished without a trace. This is a dark parallel with what happens to the kids, as soon the standpipe will be filled with missing persons posters. Fun fact, a lot of the names on these posters are crew members from the show. Everyone's favorite mean girl, Patty of the Patty Cakes, brings up Teddy Uris and Maddie Clements when mentioning which of their classmates would have the ugliest babies.
That's
Although Teddy
up.
never made it to adulthood, his brother Donald, who we briefly see in episode 1, goes on to become the father of Stanley Uris of the Losers Club. Principal Dunleavy, who we saw briefly in episode 2.
Okay. I can't just let him narrate this part this way. Like, I got to show this one to y'all. Ain't no fucking way. I got to show this one to y'all. This one is just a little crazy. And this was like the first Pennywise principal. Let me see. Let me see. This is like the first scene in the joint. It's crazy. The first scene of the episode. You do this in front of some kids. Hold on, man. Let me see if I can find it for y'all. Y'all not gonna know what I'm talking about until y'all see it. Yeah, I think we can do this. Look at this, y'all. Yo. Nah, that ain't good enough. That ain't good enough. Nah, that wasn't it, y'all. Come on, man. They gotta have that. Pennywise rips the principal's head off, pokes him in the eyes, rips his head off, and soccer kicks that bitch. Nah, y'all got to see this. Y'all got to see this. Hold on. Are they going?
Pennywise the dancing clown. Hiya, kiddos.
Oh! Oh! Hell no! Oh shit!
When I close my eyes and I dream of you, I see your pretty faces and I taste them too. But my, oh my, how I wish to cry every time we say good.
The epitome of they all float down here. All right, let's get back to it, man. Rest in power to Principal Dunleavy, but damn, boy went out bad, didn't he?
Too, with his stupendous toupee, is propped up like a puppet in one of Pennywise's most gruesome kills. Pennywise will even serenade us with a song, which is funny considering his daughter Ingrid, at the end of the episode, tells the Juniper Hill staff how much her dad loved to sing. This stage is a combination of the original back in 1908 and the one in his lair when he performs for Beverly in 89. I love the little detail of time to float instead of time to dance. We've never seen Pennywise harness as much power as in this episode. With all this fog,
This episode was written right. It was shot right. If you haven't checked this out, man, the entire season is out. You should binge watch it, because if you're like me and you saw this from week to week, you were dying to see what happened next, man. Now y'all can binge watch it.
and deadlighting multiple children at once, he knows this is his one big shot at freedom, and nothing is going to stop him. The deadlights are when Galoo shows his true form with these 3 floating orbs. It puts his victims in a sort of catatonic state in which they experience terrors beyond our imagination. Or reruns of The Big Bang Theory.
Bazinga.
Lily, Ronnie, and Marge have been on their own journeys this season. Lily getting over the death of her father, Ronnie trying to keep her father out of jail, and Marge finding who she is and who her friends are. She spent most of this season trying to fit in with the popular kids, even throwing her own friends under the bus to do so. It's no wonder then that her
Trash. Margie would have never been hanging out with me after she tried to diss me for them patty cake chicks, man. Yeah, when clowns start taking a bite out of crime on kids around there, now you realize who your real friends are, huh?
final speech at Rich's funeral is all about what makes a true friend. This March of Death is one of my favorite shots of the episode, as this scene is heavily influenced by the story of the Pied Piper.
Facts. Hold on. Y'all got to go back and look at that.
Death is one of my favorite.
Pennywise had all the kids floating in a winter cold. He just had them floating over the sky. He finna take them somewhere. He finna stock them up. The man was taking groceries home is what he was doing. That's all he was doing. He was finna move to a new crib. He took all his stuff and he had some groceries and he was about to move to a new spot. That's where he was going. He needed some food and he needed a couple of snacks along the way.
Shots of the episode, as this scene is heavily influenced by the story of the Pied Piper. In most interpretations of the story, the Piper leads the children with his instrument into a river to drown or back to his cave. A cave is the background of Pennywise's stage. In one
So the Pied Piper was a pedophile. Got it.
particular version, it's 3 children who stay behind and end up informing the adults and saving the day. Kind of like our 3 kids. Knowing that Will and their friends have been taken by Pennywise, they decide to go after him, armed with Sesky's ancient dagger, which Lily has held on to since her foray into the sewers.
Wait, hold the fuck up, right? Hold up. This is what I don't understand. Let's run it back right here, right quick, right? So there's a whole fog that done came over Derry, and crazy shit is happening in the fog. And none of the main characters, you got the kids who are the main characters, but the adults like Leroy Hanlon, his wife, you know what I'm saying? Rose, you know what I'm saying? Like Ronnie's for her father. Like nobody's saying, where are my kids? Let me go find my kids. Horrible parenting. I'm probably gonna say that for the rest of this jump. Horrible parenting.
To go after him, armed with Seski's ancient dagger, which Lily has held on to since her foray into the sewers. This dagger is composed of the same material which imprisoned Galoo, and acts as both a weapon and shield of sorts, keeping the entity at bay. They're already way behind, and thus Marge hijacks a milk truck to catch up. There's something oddly satisfying about a Derry truck being used in the town of Derry. By the way, this truck has been seen in the background of several episodes. After getting a frightening call from Pennywise stating that he has his son,
Pennywise called him. Got your son, bitch ass. What you gonna do about it? And then he put Will on the phone. He was like, Dad, is there somebody there? I'm scared. And the question that Pennywise asked him when he got him on the phone, Pennywise is a bitch ass thing. He's really petty. He calls up Leroy Hanlon and said, what scares the man that fears nothing? And then that's when he put him on the phone with Will. So he's in possession of Will. He has Will. It has him. Sheesh.
Leroy Hanlon goes full Liam Neeson and enlists the help of Dick. That sounded weird. It's interesting to note that in this call, Leroy threatens Pennywise, stating that if he harms his son, he'll rip out his heart. It will be his grandson Mike, 54 years later, that will kill Pennywise by ripping out his heart. But back to Dick. He's not been doing so great since the black spot. In fact, he's on the brink of killing himself with the onslaught of undead all around him. It's kind of
okay. So Leroy is about to go ahead and take himself out, right? And it's merely because he says something about he can see the dead. He used to have them locked away in a little lockbox in his mind or whatever, and they weren't to come out. But Pennywise opened up that box, and now he can see the dead again. And he says, if I don't speak to them, they'll act like they don't see me. He said, but the moment you speak to one of them, they all start speaking to you, and their voices, they never stop. And now they're telling him they want him to join him, which is what's leading him to go down the path that he's going down. But I ain't gonna lie, ain't no way I'm sitting up every day and I see shit like this just chilling in the room with me. Somebody gonna have to give me some medication. I'm gonna have to go and get some of that good army medication, if y'all know what I mean.
Of killing himself with the onslaught of undead all around him. It's kind of ironic that the alcohol influencing his decision is called Old Granddad, when it was his granddad who started much of his trauma to begin with. Leroy pleads to Dick, asking for his help to get his son. Dick's powers might be the only thing to track Will, and ultimately he agrees to help. We'll see the fog creep along the river toward the old deadwood tree. This is the same tree Nakani and her friends passed when they went to retrieve.
Let's not play like like Hollering didn't tell Hanlon, yo, nah, fucking with you, you got my mind messed up, man. I should put a bullet in your ass. You take you and me about this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, once he told him that, once Hanlon told him that it has my son, that's when he stopped and was like, I'll help.
The pillars hundreds of years ago. Rose says it stood there long before her ancestors, and that it's the furthest point that the dagger's energy can still connect with the other pillars to restore the cage. Once Pennywise reaches beyond that tree, it's game over. In this map, we'll see how the pillars form these concentric circles to form one big ring surrounding Derry. She says the earth acts as a conductor, linking the energies of these pillars to form this barrier, and it only takes one of them to be destroyed in order for it to fail. Kind of like if you had a prison cell, but one of the bars was removed so you could get out. The plan to stop Galoo involves getting that dagger to the deadwood tree before Pennywise can pass. The dagger would act like one of those.
Bruh, this scene right here, I saw online, right? I saw online somebody said maybe Andy Muschietti should shoot or have a part in shooting the Batman for James Gunn in the DCU. Look at this scene right here, y'all. This is Pennywise in some bat, eagle, bird thing about to get these kids, man. Shit was crazy.
Those pillars refortifying the barrier and trapping Galoo once and for all. But they don't know where that dagger is, and this is where Dick comes in. By giving him a tea made of maturin root, Rose says that she can stop the voices in his head. Maturin root was the same root Mike used in It Chapter 2 to give Bill his psychedelic vision that allows the losers to perform the Ritual of Chud, a ritual the losers believe will destroy Pennywise for good. In the Stephen King universe, Maturin is one of the most powerful and ancient entities, serving as a force of benevolence and order.
We still haven't seen Maturin yet. Maybe we might see him in either season 2 or season 3 of this. Maybe.
Sort of counter to Galoo. He's often represented as a turtle. There have been little nods to Maturin throughout the series, from Lily's turtle bracelet, Bert the Turtle, and even the Turtle Carnival game back in 1908. By drinking the tea, it connects Dick to the Macroverse, the realm where Galoo hails. But as Rose states, not all things there are evil, hinting at Maturin. Marge's future as a milkmaid gets off to a rocky start when she crashes the truck. We'll see the
She crashed the truck because crazy girl here, Bainbridge, told her, pothole. She's like, pothole. Oh, shit. Man, first of all, why were you going that fast?
Company, Fremlin Derry, named after David Fremlin, one of the set designers on the show. Lily does her best Bilbo Baggins here, hoarding the dagger for herself. This is the same.
Nah, bro, she was tripping. Nah, take a look. She was tripping. She was like, no, you guys think I'm crazy. You all think I'm crazy. You're just using me. You're not my real friends. Yeah. Man, that dagger had her tripping. But you don't find out until this episode that the dagger is like driving you crazy. Now, it is hinted that she on some bullshit ever since she got a hold of the dagger within the episodes, because it's like she won't let go of it. She won't tell nobody she really got it. Like, and if anybody else tries to touch it, she on some bullshit with them. So
for herself. This is the same thing she did a few episodes ago, not letting any of the others touch it. It has a sort of hold over those who possess it.
Man, she was like Bishop with the gun in that shit, man.
Rose tells us that the dagger does more damage the further it is away from its home. Home being the Niebolt house, under which lays the cave system where the shards were first discovered. Lily wants to go back, believing she'll get them all killed. For the last year, she's felt responsible for her dad's death, and the last thing she wants to do is be responsible for Marge and Ronnie's. The girls eventually smack some sense into her, with Ronnie stating, "This isn't you. You're a lifeboat."
So my question is, are you an anchor or a lifeboat? Yeah, she's a lifeboat. They had to tackle that dagger out of her hand for her to stop tripping because of its supernatural mystical powers. If she wasn't crazy, she a little crazy now.
A callback to when Lily told them a story about two types of people in this world, anchors and lifeboats. They decide to take turns carrying the dagger as they reach the frozen river.
That was a good move. Marge said, we're going to trade off who holds the dagger since it's driving everybody crazy. They get to the edge right here, and the dagger starts glowing, because, you know, when the dagger glows, that means Galoo is around. That means Pennywise is around. So you see this little crazy little trail of kids just floating behind that crazy ass wagon, and they like, it's Will over there. Ronnie, tough guy, strong black woman, strong black young queen, said, we finna go find out.
Their horror, Pennywise has already started his march toward the Deadwood. They rush to find Will, but they can't get him down, and it's only a matter of time before Pennywise is alerted to their presence. The dagger barely keeps him at bay, but he's able to grab Marge into the fog, where we get two of the episode's biggest reveals. The first is that Pennywise refers to Marge as Margaret Tozier,
Rich Tozier's mom,
the future mother of Rich from It Chapter 1. And it makes sense. Like Rich, she uses humor as a defense mechanism, does voices and impressions, and both wear thick Coke bottle glasses. Rich is most likely named after Rich Santos, who sacrificed himself saving Marge in the black.
Oh, man, that's still sad. Oh, that's still sad. Oh, man, that still hurts.
Black Spot Massacre. Pennywise will say,
Beep, beep, Margie.
a callback, or should I say, call forward to what he'll taunt Richie with.
Beep, beep, Richie.
But the reveal that has me really excited is how Pennywise perceives time. To him, the past, present, and future are the same.
Tomorrow, yesterday, it's all the same for little Pennywise.
He's
Okay, that's a big reveal. Pennywise, godlike, otherworldly powers have him view time not in a forward going on type situation. He could see everything happening at once. Like he even knew when he was about to die, which is what he told Margie. He was like, your son, you give birth to your son, and him and his loser friends are the ones that supposedly bring me my death. He was like, but that can't happen if I get rid of you right now. So, he tried it. So we'll see what happens.
already seen the events that have played out in the future, and by killing Marge, he hopes to kill the woman that will one day give birth to the man that will kill him. A little bit of a Terminator vibe here. If he can't perceive time, that means he doesn't know when he was born.
The seed of your stinking loins and his filthy friends bring me my death. Or is it birth? He doesn't know because he sees time all at once. He doesn't really know when he got here. He sees everything happening at once. Sheesh.
Or died. To him, it's the same, and this concept has huge implications for the story to come. For one, it means Pennywise isn't a god at all, rather a prisoner to a closed time loop. He lands, feeds, sleeps, dies, and is born again over and over again. Second, it means the Losers Club victory was both inevitable and therefore meaningless. They were always going to win because it was destined. In Stephen King's Dark Tower series, there's a concept called Ka is a wheel. It means existence is cyclical. Things happen, they fade, and they happen again. This concept explains why some people, like Dick Halloran, have the shine.
That sounds like the multiversal war in the MCU, don't it? Keeps happening in a time loop.
If time is a wheel where things have happened over and over again, then on some subconscious level, you have lived this very moment before. It's how Dick can see things that have or will happen because they have happened. It makes sense that Pennywise personifies himself as a clown because his whole existence is a cosmic joke. The losers think they are changing the future by fighting it, but Pennywise knows they're just acting out a script that the wheel has already written. Think of Pennywise sitting at the hub of this wheel. He doesn't move as the universe spins around him. Humans, however, are strapped to the rim of the wheel, spinning wildly. So the Ka is the wheel concept goes hand in hand with something called Ka-tet, or a group of people bound together by fate to achieve a specific goal.
Okay, so these different groups that emerge, that come against as good versus evil, they're always destined to do that. I wonder how it can try. Maybe the entire time it's been on Earth, it's been trying to change its fate because it knew when it was gonna be taken out.
Losers Club are a textbook example. Fate brought these kids together to complete a turn of the wheel, only for it to repeat once again. The ending of It Chapter 2 suggests that the losers successfully broke the loop. The scars from their blood oath vanish, and the losers no longer forget their memories of Derry. The problem for Pennywise is that he knows his fate. There's just nothing he can do about it. I hope this time thing is something the show starts to smooth out because I'm sure many of us still have a lot of questions. Even Marge asks, what if Pennywise goes back in time and tries to kill one of her parents? If, for example, Marge's parents died, she'd never be born and could never give birth to Rich, who's pivotal in killing Galoo.
Well, it wouldn't be that. She's thinking of it in the wrong way, there's a lot of people online right now on Twitter that's thinking about it the exact same way, that Pennywise can time travel. No, but he can go into the consciousness of himself back at that time and see what's going to happen. He can try to take out certain people on some Terminator shit to make it so that this person was never born, this person never met this person. He could try that, but inevitably his fate is what it is. It's what happens in chapter 2. Or is it?
Welcome to Derry, ending with a chapter 1 beside it, and the producers already stating that the next 2 seasons will take place in 1935 and 1908. both years in Pennywise's cycle, Marge's line about family members hint we'll see even more familial connections linking season to season. But if the losers can break this wheel, does that mean Pennywise can too? Can he find a weak link in this chain of events that will set him free? That's what I really want to know. Marge is nearly killed by Pennywise when he suddenly freezes. Dick has successfully tapped into his mind, tricking him into thinking he's back in 1908. It's all
Man, that shit was cold-blooded, man. Pennywise was in that bitch tripping. He was like, fuck is this? I ain't no clown. He smacked the shit out of the little ringmaster dude. He was like, I ain't no fucking clown. That dude smacked the shit out of him. He said, that's the fuck you are. He was like, oh shit.
an illusion to buy them time to get that dagger to the tree. In this vision, Bob was found out in a ditch and not eaten by a pack of wolves, as theorized by the carnival barker last episode. And I gotta say, it was pretty hilarious when Pennywise announces he's a god and is instantly bitch slapped. This news, however, does not last long. While the brief reprieve allows the school kids to snap out of their trance, Leroy and Taniel grab the dagger when they're shot by the military. Taniel ends up succumbing to his wound, and this is
Bruh, they were running. The military clipped at them, shot Tanya in the neck, clipped Leroy Hanlon in the leg, dropped both of them.
now the second time Leroy's had to hold someone dying in his arms. So Leroy's like, I can't do this. How about I let my kid go? Prompting Will, Lily, Ronnie, and Marge to use the cover of the fog to bury the dagger for good.
Nah, hold
I
on.
do want to stay in his arms. So Leroy's like, I can't do this. How about I let my
Horrible parenting again. What do y'all mean? I can't do this. How about I let my kid go? Be between the entire world and a flesh-eating, fear-mongering damn monster.
kid go? Prompting Will, Lily, Ronnie, and Marge to use the cover of the fog to bury the dagger for good. I do want to say I love this completion of Leroy's character arc. For the entire season, he's felt distant from his son. Will doesn't like the things he likes. His son is more interested in science and nerdy things than sports and fishing. But now he's learned to accept and love his son for who he is and not who he wants him to be. We've
Wow.
never seen the dagger glow as much as it does in this episode's epic climax. Shaw will see the frozen Pennywise right before Pennywise clues into the fact that Dick's gotten into his mind, making for
Right here, I knew right here. I said, I'm so glad this bitch here is finna die, because the fact that you want to unleash something like this on the rest of the world, what kind of person are you? I said, oh, he finna die right now, and that's gonna be good for his fucking ass.
a really unfortunate reunion. Pennywise remembered how Shaw smelled and briefly turns into the skeleton man form before taking a bite out of the general. Meanwhile, Leroy and the gang get the upper hand on the soldiers and start taking pot shots at the clown. This is all
Nah. When they got into it, right? You seen Rose come up and grab Tanya, and she's like, oh no, Tanya's there. You know, of course she did the when my man when the dude that's under the general, when the general's right hand went ahead and said, yo, he said, go after them kids. Man, everybody locked in. All the parents locked in. Everybody had that look like we sliding. What you mean? They got up, grabbed everybody's guns, they swinging, everybody fighting, they disarmed the soldiers, and yeah, it goes down.
his head out like a jack-in-the-box after getting it blown off. Kind of like the jack-in-the-box which Beverly saw in his lair. Meanwhile, Leroy and the gang get the upper hand on the soldiers and start taking pot shots at the clown. This is all in an attempt to slow him down. He'll pop his head out like a jack-in-the-box after getting it blown off. Kind of like the jack-in-the-box which Beverly saw in his lair. But his final form is that of this gruesome bat-like flying creature.
Man, you see this
Doesn't
shit?
quite line up with the crow creature with balloons.
It didn't hover, he said. It floated. It floated. There were a bunch of balloons tied to each wings, and it floated. Will Hanlon, Derry the second interlude.
Attached to its wings that Will is said to have seen after the Black Spot massacre in the book. However, Mike's first encounter with Pennywise in the novel describes him as a Rodan kaiju type creature. And not to be that guy, but why didn't Pennywise immediately get into this form and fly out of Derry once the barrier was down? Dude was mad hungry for some kids.
Facts.
Leroy is hit by the deadlights, and it looks as though Pennywise will actually
Okay, so I thought that Leroy, like nothing could happen to Leroy because he didn't fear nothing. So like the deadlights didn't do shit. I thought he was gonna be all right from that. Um, I was wrong.
get into this form and fly out of Derry once the barrier was down. Dude was mad hungry for some kids. Leroy
I thought like he has that whole thing where he can't fear anything. I didn't think the deadlights would do anything. Shit.
is hit by the deadlights, and it looks as though Pennywise will actually make it out. That is until Dick sees two figures among the fog, Sesky and my man, the knight himself, Rich.
Oh, he's riding by, he's walking by to help his friends because the wind is and the ice is so crazy. The kids are trying to push their way towards the the large stump to close off the gate. The dagger is holding itself back. It doesn't want to move. My man Rich's spirit then came back. He walking past Pennywise. He shot him the middle finger, bow, and went to help his friends. Fire.
He gives Pennywise the finger and joins his friends, giving them the last bit of strength to place the dagger. Immediately, it casts a beam of light connecting with the other pillars and reestablishing the barrier. Pennywise disintegrates, his face melting into previous forms, like Lily's Pickle Daddy and the baby bat creature from episode 1. We'll see Galoo's orbs flee back to the safety of the sewers, not to reappear until 1988 when Pennywise snatches Georgie.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. So y'all are telling me Georgie was Pennywise's first victim when he came back out in that next cycle? Wow, that's crazy.
When Pennywise snatches Georgie, Derry's been saved for now. Rich's funeral has a touching eulogy by Marge in which she talks about the meaning of friendship. It's hard to believe they only knew each other for a month. I like the little touch of her adding drumsticks on the casket. Rich is there with them in spirit, even if Dick is the only one who can see him. He tells Rich's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Santos, the hand they feel on their shoulders is their boy. And when they
Man, that was touching right there. Cause you could see Rich standing behind them and he has his spirit has his hand on his parents' shoulders, both of them. And it's like the dad could feel it. He could feel it. He sits down and he says, that hand you feel on your shoulder, he said, that's your boy. He's always going to be with you.
ask who he is, he cryptically replies, I'm still working on that. Dick has really opened himself up to others this season. For the most part, he's been a pretty to himself kind of guy. I guess it's hard to make friends when you can reach into someone's mind. But this experience has changed him. He'll even ask Leroy to keep him up to date on what's happening with Will and Charlotte. The last we see Dick, he tells Leroy he's off to London where his buddies got him a job as a cook at a hotel. No doubt setting him up to eventually work at the Overlook some years later.
Yeah. So if you're just now tuning in, basically all the Stephen King movies, books, everything you've ever read or seen from Stephen King, it's all in the same universe.
This might also be a nod to the fact that Scatman Crothers, the actor who played Dick Halloran in The Shining, shot most of his scenes in a studio in London. In the It novel, Dick was a cook in the military. Dick might even show up in future seasons, even though they take place in 1935 and 1908. Shining is a psychic ability that connects the mind to the macroverse, and the macroverse is a place where time does not exist. Theoretically, two people from different eras could meet in this macro universe and communicate, but the lore makes it clear a direct conversation across time would likely snap the user's minds, as our human brains couldn't handle it. There's an
Only thing I could think of is I'm not sure if Halloran is from Derry, but we could see a young Halloran and his grandmother in the next season. And then in the season, in the very last season, it'll be his grandmother who knows of, yeah, all of this is going to link back. All of these people are in the same lineage and they all line up, leading to the people that eventually are responsible for birthing the Losers Club, the ones who take out the entity known as It. So he's been trying ever since he got here to take out everybody in that lineage on some Terminator shit. All right, that's fire.
exception, however. Someone who shines can communicate with someone dead from another time and survive. In Doctor Sleep, adult Danny Torrance is able to communicate with Dick Halloran, who had died years prior. so don't count Dick out appearing in future seasons or his own spin off. You might have also caught Dick saying au revoir.
Just stopping by to say au revoir.
His past is still shrouded in mystery, and when he first encountered Galoo in episode 3, we got this brief glimpse of Mardi Gras style masks, making me think he has some connection with New Orleans. New
He probably does.
Orleans being a former French colony before it was purchased by the United States. The last we see Marge, she sees one of Rich's paper planes. She'll go on to stay in Derry, later marrying a dentist by the name of Wentworth Tozier and go on to have Rich. Lily has finally made it to her father's grave. She was lightly chastised by her mother for not visiting, but you can kind of see why, considering she blamed herself for his death. Now she's gotten over it. She's changed, as signified by the little butterfly that lands on the tombstone. She'll go on to remark that everything in Derry looks peaceful from up in the standpipe, like almost nothing ever happened.
Yeah, bullshit. That's its powers. Once it goes away and goes to sleep, the town goes to acting like it's supposed to act.
That's the effect Derry has. People are quick to forget, just like they brushed aside the Black Spot Massacre as an electrical fire. Soon they'll all forget that dozens of children almost floated to their deaths. If the plan from last episode is still in play, Ronnie, her grandmother, and Hank Grogan are off to Canada. Remember that Hank was pronounced dead at the Black Spot after his burned clothes were placed in the remains by
Right.
Charlotte. Their first stop is St. Stephen, New Brunswick, which shares a border with Calais, Maine. Calais is a location featured in such King works as The Institute, Black House, and the Dark Tower series. Even the name Stephen could be a nod to Stephen King himself. Will and Ronnie finally get to have that kiss. He hopes
Ew.
that by continuing to write to her, she won't forget him like most folks who leave town. We know their love won't last, as Will end up getting married to a Jessica Hanlon and remain in Derry. I like this last shot of Ronnie sucking on 2 lollipops, echoing the first time we saw her in episode 1. There's a lot of fun callbacks like this in the epilogue, such as the thank you for visiting Derry sign in the final episode, juxtaposed with the welcome to Derry sign in episode 1. Leroy's been dishonorably discharged from the military.
Yeah, he told them, he said they said they'll let me walk away if I act like I ain't know nothing. Hold on, did they say he was honorably or dishonorably? Hold on.
Callbacks like this in the epilogue, such as the thank you for visiting Derry sign in the final episode, juxtaposed with the welcome to Derry sign in episode 1. Leroy's been dishonorably discharged from the military.
Dishonorably discharged? Ain't no fucking way, boy. After everything that I seen, y'all dishonorably discharge me? Nah, somebody gonna have to play ball with me so I don't tell nobody what I know.
In fact, he's done with the military entirely. He's lost his faith in them after everything that's happened, making a deal that if he keeps his mouth shut, they'll let him walk away. Rose asks Leroy and Charlotte to take her farm. After the death of Taniel, the place is too much for her. She also wants them to join her in making sure no one ever tries to reopen the cage. Plus, they know they'll be safe for another 27 years. The Hanlons were originally going to leave, but surprisingly, it's Charlotte who wants to stay. Remember, she was always one to never back away from a fight, and now it seems like she and Leroy are on the same page to, quote, take on missions together. Leroy grew up on a farm, so this is perfect for him. In fact, we'll see Leroy in It Chapter 1 in a delightful scene where he teaches his grandson Mike how to slaughter a sheep with a bolt gun.
Now everybody said once the timeline goes forward, this is Leroy Hanlon, and this is Will's son, Mike. I'm not sure where Will is at this point, but there's no way that he forgot what happened 27 years ago with that clown trying to eat these kids. Ain't no way.
One, in a delightful scene where he teaches his grandson Mike how to slaughter a sheep with a bolt gun. But I gotta say, the icing on the cake of this already fantastic finale was the tag at Juniper Hill. This is where Ingrid Kirsch, aka Periwinkle's been taken following the events of the Black Spot. She's gone full on cuckoo, talking about how her dad died to wolves. But there's something that calms her, this record. This is the same record that played in her home when Lily visited in episode 6 and appears in her home in It Chapter 2. This is a Danish song from the 1930s and has some pretty creepy lyrics when you think of it in terms of Ingrid's love for her father. It reads, "It is the loveliest thing I know to think of you, and all my deep love I will forever bestow upon you. To be loved by you must be a wonderful dream to carry. Give me your heart, and I promise you, you will get mine in return." Fast forward 20.
Did she seem like she was oddly? She did, yeah. She did seem like she was oddly too close to her father. But it's like she lost her father when she was young. What do you mean?
6 years to 1988. This is shortly before the events of It Chapter 1. We're still with Mrs. Kirsch, who's now 88 years old. She's painting her hand as Periwinkle touching her father, an image which was seen in episode 7. Screaming alerts her to commotion down the hall. There, Elfrida Marsh, mother to Beverly Marsh, has committed suicide, an event which frames much of Beverly's story in It Chapter 1. We'll even see her trying to comfort her father, who pushes her away. Ingrid says her staple line, "You know what they say about Derry, no one who dies here ever really dies." The same thing she said to Lily in episode 6. There is a theory out there that Elfrida Marsh is Lily Bainbridge, who grew up, changed names, and became Beverly's mom. There is a Hart Alvin Marsh Beverly.
How y'all feel about that theory? How y'all feel about that theory? She grew up and became Beverly Marsh's mom.
Is a Hart Alvin Marsh Beverly Dad's graffiti in the girls' washroom. But let me know what you think. The actress who plays older Mrs. Kirsch is the same actress who plays her in It Chapter 2. I personally think that the Mrs. Kirsch we see in Chapter 2 isn't real at all.
She's not. You got to remember when Beverly went outside and she looked at the building she just came out of, the building was run down and abandoned. There was nobody in there. That was it.
Be 116 after all. But now that we know the real Mrs. Kirsch was there the day Elfrida died and Beverly saw her, that might just be the form Pennywise took to spook her. That creepy old lady she met the day her mother died. Let's take a moment to talk about this photo showing Pennywise's wife that's been making the rounds on Twitter. I can confirm that this is real, and the source is the actress who plays young Periwinkle's Instagram account. But we never see Ingrid's mom in the show. What's the deal? I think there are two possible answers. Either they shot a few scenes for future seasons of the show, or she was simply cut from the final edit. This is something I hope the producers will address, as I think it would have been really cool to see Pennywise's wife. As of the writing of this video, a season 2 has not been confirmed. However, both ratings and reception of the show have been good, so
It definitely has been confirmed.
really hope it's a go. It's supposed to be set in 1935 and feature the Bradley Gang Massacre. But now I turn it over to you. What did you think of?
Salute, salute, salute. Again, to Think Story. That was really, really a great ride, a great sesh. I'm fried, died, laid to the side. I'm telling y'all right now, Welcome to Derry season 1 was fantastic. The writing, the shooting, the suspense, the horror, Stephen King, Annie Muschietti. 10 out of 10 from me, man. And this sesh was a 10 out of 10. And that's how we wrapping up Monday, man. This another one, man. Offenders Initiative Podcast. Your boy Slave DiBiase, and I'm out.